Hello, welcome to your morning talk show with Jan. We have been traveling internationally for 90 days now-ish?
3 months-ish?
90-ish days. And we're in Argentina. We've been in Argentina for a month, right? Almost.
About 4 weeks-ish.
Here's a little life update. What are your first impressions of Argentina?
I really like Argentina. I think a lot of people call it the Paris of South America, and it definitely feels that way. It feels like a very European city. There's a lot of, old stone buildings. It looks like Paris in that way, where there's not a ton of skyscrapers. There's cobblestone streets. A really, really big city too, so we've barely scratched the surface.
I think we've been taking Buenos Aires a little bit slower than some of our other stops because we have more time here, so it hasn't felt as rushed, which is really nice. But I also think we don't know it as well as fast.
This is the first time, literally in 6 months, we've been able to relax a little bit. So we've been a little bit lazier than normal. It's been quite enjoyable.
I think that the food here is the least new to us, right? Like in Mexico and Colombia, I feel like we were trying these things we hadn't heard of and we didn't know. Whereas the food here, I think, is a little bit more familiar. Like there's a lot of really great Italian food here. Good steak, apparently.
Yeah. No, the meat's very good, but everything we've tried, we've pretty much had before. Like even milanesas or empanadas or medialunas, which are like these really buttery, heavy croissants. All of it's stuff that we've more or less tried before in the States or another country. So we still need to go out and explore new stuff, and we need to try more chimichurris and more Argentine classics and authentic food.
And I think the produce here probably resembles much more the selection in the States, where not a lot of fresh produce is grown in Argentina, so a lot of it's just imported, which, obviously that's what we're used to in the States, but coming from Colombia, where there was just fresh mangoes sliced open on the street every day and really good produce everywhere you looked, it's different. But I think the people here have been super friendly and kind to us. We've had a lot of people reach out to us with tips, tricks, places to try, offers to meet up and do Spanish-English exchanges, and people have really opened their arms up to us in Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires is a really big city and it can seem somewhat intimidating. So we were really happy to find, within our first week here, we were already meeting people and finding WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups that were hosting events. I
know what you're all thinking. Are they broke yet? Do they have to move back in with their parents? Do we?
Soon. No, we're actually doing pretty good. Basically what we've been doing is freelancing and writing. So, we're writing blog posts, SEO content, copywriting stuff for other people, businesses, etc. And it's been making us a good chunk of money. I'd say, I didn't start doing it until the end of November, and I'm about 50% of the way to covering my expenses per month. But again, that's only with about 2 months of doing this, so pretty good to start out with.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I think coming into this experience, initially we had planned to come here and teach, and I do think that teaching probably would have gotten us more integrated with the community and found us people faster. But I think freelancing has made more sense for us in our situation because we make more money freelancing than we would teaching, and also it gives us all the flexibility in the world. If we don't want to work all day one day until 8 p.m., we can work from 8 p.m. till midnight, and that's fine. Whereas we could go out and do stuff during the day if we want.
Yeah, I totally agree, because with the teaching it would have been really limiting. And the great part about this too is that we get to visit museums or do activities or even plan trips during the week and go at times when it's not as expensive, it's not as crowded. And that's a huge bonus to us. I've enjoyed freelancing, especially because we get to wake up between 9 and 10, and plus or minus around that range, depending on the day. The freedom really is freeing.
Freelancing. Freedom. Not free though. It costs money.
No. The lack of routine is weird.
Yes.
It's weird. It's easy to spiral out and lose a good chunk of the day by being on TikTok or something, and then you don't get into a rhythm. So I think trying to build a rhythm is something that we've tried every week to do, but it's been harder because we've been traveling, and then getting here, we've just enjoyed being able to relax for the first time in a long time. That I think we'll find that rhythm eventually.
Yeah,
but
I think
haven't yet.
I think it's a goal probably this month. Now that we're here, we're settled. We have no more excuses.
It's like when you see those videos of the ugly side of van life. It's oh no, we don't have a routine.
Yeah, I know.
How horrible.
Everyone watching is literally please shut up. Please shut up. Any more notes on freelancing?
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you have a full-time job right now, start freelancing.
And you don't have to it's not just writing. You can offer any services. Anything you're good at, I swear there's a way you can make it freelancing. So if you have any questions for us on oh, hey, I have this skill, but I'm not sure what I could offer on a freelancing site, hit us up and we'll help you out.
Yeah.
We're TikTok sensations.
That's what you want to say?
Well, it's clearly a joke, Dan.
I'm just saying I don't think that's the right impression to give off. So, buzzer, beep. We have learned. So through our other social media accounts, we did A to B study to compare and contrast results using data-driven analytics and concluded that people in other countries love watching us mess up in their country. Yeah. The people of Argentina and of Colombia and of Mexico, we didn't get it as much in Mexico, but in Colombia and Argentina, they love correcting us on what we do wrong. They get a kick out of it.
And there's a lot of stuff that we do wrong.
Yeah, we're just like the fumbling, bumbling Americans who can't eat an arepa right, or don't know what an arepa is, or accidentally refer to an arepa as it's tortilla-like because it opens up like a pocket and you put stuff in it and it's made of corn and flat. But don't you dare compare it to a tortilla because I don't know.
Stupid gringo. Or we stirred our Fernet and Coke with a spoon that the restaurant gave us.
They gave us a spoon and
the drink.
And in the TikTok, I was joking around being like, oh, are we stirring it wrong? We actually stirred it wrong.
Yeah, they were like, you have to use your finger. Excuse me, ma'am? It's been really interesting to learn how to interact with different audiences on social media, because basically every time we're in a new country, we're like interacting with a new audience, right? And yeah, the one common thread is that they all like to tell us what we're doing wrong and or make fun of us. And we're just leaning into that. That's fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not trying to be like the obnoxious Americans, but when we just do things like, oh, we're trying this fruit, and apparently you're not supposed to eat it like this, and then everyone has a heyday, that's okay. We can do that. Our learning can be your entertainment.
Yes.
So, shameless plug to follow us on TikTok if you don't already, because we're hilarious.
Yeah, the comments section in our TikTok videos we've stirred some debates.
Well, I think also it gets really interesting sometimes reading through the comments, because we're sharing our experience in a new country, and then people from that country are comparing and contrasting what we're sharing with probably a more real version of it because they're from there. So I think an interesting one, and we'll probably make a whole YouTube video on the hospital experience.
Oh yeah.
But we just had to learn how to navigate kind of the hospital system here. Everything's fine, but we posted about it on TikTok, and there were some crazy discussions in the comments of our TikToks from people who live in Argentina. saying things like, one person would be like, wow, we're so glad you had such a great experience. Like, I love our healthcare system. One person would say like, well, your experience is just one and you actually don't know the realities of it. And our healthcare system isn't as good as you think it is. And so it just created really interesting dialogue that I don't think we would get unless we were documenting and sharing on social media.
They're giving us recommendations. I mean, when we made videos about alfajores or pizza, we have entire lists of places we need to try, flavors we need to try, things to avoid even, like anchovy pizza. We tried it, we don't need to do it again. It's crossed off the list. Don't do it, guys. There's little bones in your cheese. It's not worth it.
Social media has been really fun for us and a great tool to get more connected faster than we would have otherwise. So
yeah, we're learning a lot from our audience, which we're grateful for our audience.
Last social media question. Do we get mean comments?
Of course we get mean comments. We get stupid comments too.
I think there's a global phenomenon that happens where, because of the age of social media that we live in, everyone feels very entitled to sharing their thoughts and opinions on everything, which is fine. I mean, there hasn't been any comments that have made me like, oh my god, that's so mean, but
I would
some grumpy ones.
I would say internet trolls or Karens is a universal term.
Yeah. I think overwhelmingly it's good. Nice comments. Funny. Mostly just people making fun of us, but in a lighthearted way. We're fine with that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna come in and we've had some people just be mean, but it's rare. But it happens. But overwhelmingly, people are super nice. Sometimes people will even see our TikToks and then DM us on Instagram, and they'll find our Instagram and be like, oh, I saw your TikTok and wanted to let you know if you have any questions or need anything, please just reach out to me. We've gotten way more of those than I expected, so that's been really cool. Any closing thoughts, Daniel?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Reasons to come to Argentina that we've thought of so far. It's an old immigrant-heavy country. People have been immigrating here for 400 years, almost 400 years. It's older than New York, so it's a country, it's a city that has a lot of history, and we're just scratching the surface. The pizza here is its own unique style. It's different from New York, it's different from Italy, Chicago. It's worth trying. It could use a little sauce, but we'll tackle the food here another day. But before I leave the food, alfajores should be on every street corner in every country. There's shortbread sandwich cookies with dulce de leche, which is not caramel. It's a separate thing.
You stupid gringo.
But we need to import them. We need to export them. We need to be making them.
They should be currency of the world.
Forget about Bitcoin. We have alfajore coin.
I thought of another reason people should visit here.
Oh, to visit us.
You really stole my thunder.
Yeah, but I knew what you were going to say because we have a healthy relationship and we're in sync and we're just killing it out here. We're killing it out here, guys. Come witness it. We've said all we needed to say. Thanks for tuning in this week. Next week, we'll be talking about
Dan's hospital trip!
Oh, we'll talk about my hospital trip.
Get excited. Why didn't you just flip everyone off?
I meant to do this. And then...
Dan.
Sorry. Dan's hospital trip. No, it was... Sorry, one more
we'll
time.
Censor it.
Dan's hospital trip. No, I'm a problem finder. I find...
You create problems. Like the time yesterday where you knocked over that cinder block thing and then the Argentinian man screamed at us. Screamed. Veins popping out of his forehead. The whole 9 yards.
Right.
He was finger wagging. He was in our faces. We have no idea what he was saying, but I am traumatized.
All right.
I told Dan not to touch it.
All right. I am curious. I like to touch things. I go into a store. I touch all the shirts. We're at the flea market.
Very German.
I pick things up. I put them down. I'm just curious by nature. Anyways, we're waiting for an Uber. And in the middle of the road, where we're waiting, there's a cinder block, or like a piece of cement with a steel rebar thing coming out of it. And
Probably
just
like waist high, right? Like just to really.
yeah. And it's just sitting there, and just like poke this thing. Like, why is it here? I poke it, and the cement thing with the steel rebarb coming out of it, it tips over immediately. It is the most unstable thing ever. Like I just poke it.
I want to give a play-by-play. I'm like standing there. I see this thing start to fall out of the corner of my eye. Dan like has it, and he's like holding it, but it's just like falling. And I'm like, Dan, what are you doing? Pick it up. And he's like, it's falling.
Well, I'm trying to balance it because I realize it's a round bottom piece of cement, and I'm like, it's not standing up, and I don't want it to just like flail everywhere and like roll. Right, let me just place it on the ground. And as this happened, our Uber driver arrived. So we're like, okay, like let me place this on the ground. We'll run over to the Uber. As the Uber driver comes, I'm placing it on the ground. This shirtless Argentine man, he comes running over, screaming at us in Spanish, and I'm like, oh no, what did I do to his cement ball bar thing? And he starts screaming at me, and I'm like, oh, lo siento.
Oh, just you? You were the only one getting screamed at?
Well, he was screaming at the Jan, calling us, screaming at us, and I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, so he goes, he picks up his cement thing in all of 3 seconds, the whole problem was fixed, and then he's screaming at us, and as we get into the Uber, and the Uber drives away, and he's like screaming and like throwing his fists around.
Okay, focus, Stan.
Focus, Stan.
No, I was trying to focus you in.
Can't just do that.
Why are you so flinchy?
I'm defensive.
What?
I'm always on guard.